morning, everyone. Welcome back to World Class Inventors. This is video number 30 in the series, and I guess it's a little bit of a milestone since I never dreamt that I would be doing 30 videos on YouTube. But here we are. So this is a continuation in part on everything that you should know about non-provisional patents. And I want to illustrate a couple of points today that I think will be foundational and quite helpful for you. The first thing that I want to say is this: working on ideas, inventing, product development, and then filing for a provisional or a non-provisional patent application, especially the non-provisional. It's a lot of work, it's time, and it's effort. It should never be done just to get the letters patent. You know, the pretty little yellowish looking folder that the patent office sends you with the blue or the red ribbon attached at the bottom with the seal. And it shouldn't be done for one of these guys. This is a patent plaque. Here's another one. Should never be done for the patent plaques. And it shouldn't be done for the letter patent either, in my opinion, unless you can visualize the product out into the marketplace and earning you a nice return. Remember, this is all about taking your 40-year work clock and cutting it down. This is about working hard, believing in yourself, walking in your dream, and crafting your own lottery ticket. Because in recent days, the Mega Millions just went off at $1.25 billion. Can you imagine that? We know we're not going to win the lottery. I ended up buying, $20 worth of tickets, and that's a lot for me, because one ticket should do it. And I think the most I got was one, maybe two numbers. So it's a fool's errand for me to go out and buy a lottery ticket. But I don't think it's a fool's errand to take an idea, a one-off idea that comes into your head, and work on it and develop it. As I've discussed, I have 2 benchmark patents that came to me, and I worked on them. And some 25, 30 years later, I had another epiphany, and it's for a tangle-free flag. And that patent application, after 22 months, has finally landed in the hands of an examiner. And I have high hopes for it being granted to me for 2 reasons. 3 reasons. I built the prototype. I did the flying trials. I invested the money to do a professional patent search and found that there's nothing like it in the prior art. And I have 16 claims. And there's enough claims in there that I should get what I need to go out and build an exclusive product. As I told you, good ideas, valuable ideas, they are rare. And when you get them, you need to act on them. And that's what this video series is about. It's about showing you how to actually act on your idea. Now, I've gotten a flurry of activity on the videos on how to become a registered PTO user, how to file a provisional patent application, and I went over the forms, the SB 16 and the 15A, and that's all nice. So I'm gaining some traction. But this really isn't a video series about filling out forms, although I am definitely going to take you on a journey coming up before we conclude this topic on how to file a non-provisional. We're going to break it down. We're going to get into the graphic design, the drawings, the claims, how to submit it, and all that. We're going to get into that because that seems to be something you're very interested in. But I'm coming from an inventor's standpoint, a marketer's standpoint, and I want to take you on this journey and help you with your idea and how to market your product. Because if you have an idea and it's no good, you're not going anywhere. And if you have a great idea and you can't market it, then you're not going anywhere as well. So the minefield we're walking through is to get the idea, work on it, develop it, and market it. And we're a long ways off from marketing because that's where we're going to conclude. But I wanted to give you a background on, again, what this video series is about. So let's look at this NHRA racing banner that was hanging off of the fences and buildings at various National Hot Rod Association racing events during the 1996-97 time frame. But this banner is pretty neat because it encapsulates a lot of what I set out to do. And I want to show you what came from me and what came from Allied Signal Fram and how they came upon it after we had met. Now, it was my vision to incorporate DuPont Teflon inside of an oil filter. Now, DuPont Teflon and all Teflon material, as we're going to call it, is polytetrafluoroethylene, and there are at least a dozen major manufacturers in the United States. DuPont is one of them, but they own the trademark Teflon, and that's what you can relate to because Teflon coated the bottom of frying pans. It was incorporated in paints. It was a anti-stick coating on the bottom of irons, and the list goes on and on and on. And it was kind of a miracle polymer that DuPont invented in the laboratory by accident. They came up with this name, and they own this name. Nobody can use this name unless you pull a license from them. And I had done that during my research. I had spoken with the marketing department of Teflon, the legal department, and even the scientific department. I had a license with DuPont to use their product in my oil filter, which I had already figured out how to build, how to design, and I had a patent on it. So that was the next logical step. What's kind of unique is Allied Signal at the time was a Fortune 38 company. They had a chemical division, they had an aerospace division, they had an automotive aftermarket division. Those are the three major core businesses they had. And they were the 38th largest corporation in America, or actually the world, pardon me. Their chemical division made polytetrafluoroethylene, but they had never dreamt of putting this inside of an oil filter. Actually, when I called on Allied Signal, none of their 30 engineers held a single oil filter patent. And I held 2, and they were benchmark oil filter patents at that time. One of them, specifically the 842, specified DuPont Teflon inside of the oil filter. So I envisioned an oil filter plus. I envisioned a dual purpose filter, one to take out contaminants and particulates, and the other end of it was to add a beneficial additive or a constituent. And this drove all the engineers crazy because oil filters were designed to remove things, never to add things. Well, I changed that, and that's why the patent became a benchmark, because it's cited well over 160 different times from the major oil filter manufacturers around the world that I know of. So my goal was to go into business with a major corporation and a major automotive oil filter maker. And so that was Allied Signal Fram. At the time, they had 29% of the market. Purolator was nipping at their heels. They had 28. Both companies had divergent marketing approaches. Purolator's was based on installed sales. It was heading that way. And guess what? Installed sales is the way of the future. We're in it right now. I knew that, and I agreed with Purolator. Fram was against installed sales. They were for the do-it-yourselfer, the weekend warrior who changes their own oil filter. At that point, it was waning. It was 40% and it was dropping like a rock. But I had to go with Fram, even though I didn't agree with their marketing strategy, because they were the only company at the time that was going to license my intellectual property. So you're going to be facing these various obstacles when it comes time to license and time to market. And I'll be doing a treatise on all that. But right now we're just doing the patent thing and its foundation. So I wanted to hook up with a major oil filter manufacturer for automotive. And again, this covers the 842 patent. This is the Teflon treated oil filter patent. And that was Fram, Purolator, and there was a player in the background which manufactures all of Napa's oil filters, which is the silver, the gold, and the platinum series, and that's Dana Wicks. And I would have been happy as a clam if I just had gotten a Napa account, because they were the flagship auto parts retailer in America at that time. So this is mine. This is mine. I achieved what I needed to do. I found a big player with the marketing arm and the manufacturing arm. This is not mine. However, I was at the marketing meeting with the engineering department, the legal department, the graphics department, and the marketing department, where we had 10 names to choose from, and we all settled upon the Doubleguard, and I was as pleased as pie, because it was a great name, and I thought it embodied everything that was in my IP. At the time, I did not have a trademark. I didn't file for a trademark. I didn't really understand how to do it. This is 1995. The electronic business unit wasn't developed in the PTO, and it was more of a big rigmarole to get a trademark. That's all going to be different with my tangle-free flag patent. I've already done the research. I got the wheels in motion for trademarks on my newest invention, my newest product. And I will have trademarks to go along with this patent once the patent is granted, when I start hawking for partners or business partners or retailers or whatever the deal might be. And we'll go along for the ride. So I just wanted to show you that you should lay out a flow chart, and it doesn't have to be a racing banner. It could be on your computer. It's something you could draw by hand. Envision what it's going to look like. Look at the main constituents of your product. Think about who they're going to appeal to. Now, the reason why I wanted to put DuPont Teflon inside of an oil filter is there was a product out there at the time, Slick 50, and it's still available today in Walmart and many of the automotive retailers. I didn't know their numbers, but I was just extrapolating. They were selling tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars a year worth of this in a bottle. and people were buying it at $20 a quart and dumping it inside of their engine to reduce friction and to increase fuel economy. It was very big in the 90s and the early 2000s. I took my cue from this, and I wanted to make a dualistic filter where we could put the same amount of DuPont Teflon into an oil filter and undersell them, and that's what we did. Now, my product ended up selling well over $200 million worth of product, and that was a far cry from where I wanted to be, because at the time, over 500 million oil filters were sold each and every year, and we had the market flat-footed, and it was $1 billion baby. But things got complicated. These people did a lot of bad things to me and bad things with the product that they shouldn't have done, and it resulted in me suing them as a pro se litigant in federal district court, and that dragged on for 4 years. And I got compensated in peanuts for this. Millions of dollars, but nothing like it should have been. This should have bought me a house on the ocean, and it didn't. But anyway, that's a story for another time, and if you want to know more about it, maybe you want to check out my book, The Greed of a Dime. It's on my website, and all the links are on the YouTube channel. So anyway, that's just an update. That's just something for you to think about. Don't do this for kicks and giggles. It's a lot of time. There's mountains to climb. There's money to be invested. Your heart and soul goes into it. It becomes your dream. You have to walk in your dream. You have to want it bad. You have to shoot for the stars. You want to become a millionaire. That's why you do this. So anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate your time greatly. And as always, God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.